How's it going, everyone? Blueknight here, and welcome back to another Ratchet Clank Rift Apart video. So first off, I'm glad to be back. I took about a week break because I had trouble coming up with any video ideas whatsoever. And, well, I'm back to make more videos. So, during this year's Gamescom opening night live, a lot of games were shown off, including Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, which I will be discussing in another video real soon. And of course, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was also featured at the very end of the show. Talk about saving the best for last, am I right? But just to be clear, this is technically the same demo footage that we've seen during the PS5 reveal event, except this time around it's been confirmed that what we're seeing right now is the full uncut demo that takes place in an early part of the game, featuring our first look at in-game cutscenes, Dr. Nefarious, and an after-demo questions and answers session with Insomniac Games, and so much more to go over and analyze. So without further ado, let's dive right in. The first thing I should point out is that the demo doesn't seem to indicate whether or not it's in a pre-alpha state, but even then it still looks absolutely amazing. The bolt counter is in the same spot, the health counter, the experience bar, the weapons bars, everything is in the same spots as it was in the previous pre-alpha footage. And right away we're treated to a cutscene that seamlessly transitions over to gameplay, just like in Marvel's Spider-Man, and this transition feels so good compared to previous Ratchet & Clank games. And something that I did notice in this particular cutscene, as well as the rest of the demo, was the enemies that I initially thought were thugs for less from Into the Nexus. Well, the subtitles seem to refer to them as goons for less. Now, it could just be that this is what each individual thug is called, kinda unlikely, going by the Monsterpedia in Ratchet & Clank Going Commando, or maybe these enemies are part of a rival group to Thugs for Less. I have absolutely no idea, but I guess we'll find out soon enough, as the game will be releasing within the PS5's launch window. How long of a window that is, like within a year or a few months, Insomniac Games couldn't say at this time. But back to the subtitles. At other points in the demo, the subtitles label the citizens of this city as Megalopolis citizens. Now, when I saw that, I thought to myself, wait a second, is this taking place in the Bogon Galaxy from Ratchet & Clank 2? So after a quick search, I realized that this is not the same place, simply due to the name being slightly different, as the place in Ratchet & Clank 2 was called Megapolis. In Rift Apart, it's called Megalopolis. You see, it's just those two extra letters that make the big difference. I mean, there is the argument that it could have been renamed because people like me kept mispronouncing it, or simply because of Metropolis being renamed to Alero City in the reimagining, but that was a completely different thing altogether. And such a drastic change like that does not, at least I assume, apply here, because this game does not take place in the reimagined timeline, as Rift Apart serves as an extension to Into the Nexus. Insomniac Games did confirm this after the demo ended, but stated that the game was going to be a standalone title, meaning that you don't need to play any of the other games beforehand to get into the game, easily making it accessible to newcomers, while catering to the longtime fans with all these different nods, characters, and planets from previous games in the franchise, like, as we've seen before, the dinosaur creatures from Sargasso from Tools of Destruction, the robot pirates from Quest for Booty, Milana Fields from A Crack in Time, and of course longtime fan favorite character Dr. Nefarious in all his mad roboticness. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. He looks absolutely awesome. I mean, what else can I say? He looks way more detailed than I imagined him being. Yeah, in A Crack in Time, he was very detailed with the pre-rendered cutscenes, but Rift Apart knocks it clear out of the park with Nefarious. But those eyes, I'm kinda mixed on, and I don't mean the color, which is kinda different from the previous games as well as the movie, where they were really red or whitish. Then again, it could just be the lighting since he is outside, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out later on. But it's really how they look. Like, say you go and stare at this particular frame long enough, it looks as if Nefarious is just staring a hole into your soul, but that might just be me. Also, the crack that was on his head and crossed over his eye in A Crack in Time, which was still present in All for One, well, it's no longer there. It's completely gone. Now just hold on a second, Blue. You just said that it was confirmed that this game is an extension to Into the Nexus. Just how is that the case case if his crack is gone? Well, to put it into simple terms, or better yet, speculation, either Lawrence repaired his crack, which I don't think is the case for obvious reasons, or this is a completely different Dr. Nefarious that's not the one that we've come to know in the main series, nor the one from the reimagining, if the different styled eyes and wanting to take over the universe is anything to go by. Not to mention his voice now has a more robotic filter compared to his last main series appearance, being All for One. But if you paid close attention to the film, you know, the part where we see Nefarious in his robotic state, a robotic filter was also present, but it wasn't as noticeable as it was in Rift Apart. And to show you what I mean, here is a comparison of Nefarious's voice from All for One, the movie, and Rift Apart.
You should know that even as I was wishing the Blarg would tear you apart limb from limb so I could river dance around your smoldering, squishy carcass, I still considered you a friend. Not the robot! Put down the Dimensionator! Yeah, right. Today I will finally be free of the both of you. Soon, everything you see will be mine!
Now, I'm honestly not bothered by this. I mean, I like the robotic filter. It does make a bit more sense that Clank sounds a little bit more robotic when Nefarious never did. So it just makes a bit more sense, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, we move on to this cutscene. We learn that Nefarious has his own version of a Dimensionator, a device that was first introduced in the Future Saga, more specifically Tools of Destruction, and returning once again in Into the Nexus. But this one, he doesn't wear it on his head like a hat, unlike the previous models. Instead, it's held in his hands, acting like a portal gun. At least I assume that's what would have happened if Ratchet hadn't pulled out his burst pistol. Oh, that animation, that was so good. Now, if you look closely, you'll notice that this Dimensionator has a gem or crystal looking object inside of it, acting like some sort of power source. But then something hit me. In the Ratchet & Clank official comic series, which is canon to the games by the way, there was something called the Serenux Shard that seems to very closely resemble this crystal looking object inside of Nefarious's Dimensionator. Here's what the Ratchet & Clank wiki has to say about this shard. It was the very specimen used by the Lombaxes to manufacture their Dimensionators during the days of the Great War. It later fell into the possession of Artemis Zog, galactic president of the Polaris Galaxy. It goes on to say that, in the end, implying the final issue, Ratchet struck the Serenux Shard with negatively charged energy from Alistair Asimov's Praetorian Omni-Wrench, ripping a bridge between realities and causing Artemis Zog to be sucked away into Dimension A266, the same dimension Tachyon got stuck in at the end of Tools of Destruction. The shard was then used to place the planets Zog had stolen back where they belonged. It is unknown what became of the Serenux Shard afterwards. And since these comics are in fact canon, taking place between A Crack in Time and All for One, I can definitely see this as the Serenux Shard, given how it reacts to Ratchet blasting it. But just how did Nefarious know about this shard? And where did he find it? Was Vendra somehow involved in the creation of this Dimensionator? As, let's not forget that both Vendra and Neftin did create their own Dimensionator in Into the Nexus. However, it wasn't a true Dimensionator, so this shard might not have been needed, seeing as they basically wore the dimensional barriers thin that were connecting the Neververse to Ratchet's dimension, which could very well happen again given the dimensional calamity happening throughout the game. But at the end of the day, it's all just speculation on my part, so let's just continue the analysis. The same cutscene with Nefarious shows the dimensions collapsing far worse than before, with the indigenous creatures of Sargasso being some of the first to be transported here. Again, it looks so cool. The duo then finds out that Ratchet's Rift Tether reacts near rifts, which will allow them to reach new areas and surprise enemies from behind, but not travel to different dimensions like I mistakenly said in a previous video. How Ratchet acquires this gadget, we're still not sure just yet, but I'm going to say that it's going to be near the start of the game, since this level takes place, well, near the start of the game. But what we do find out is that Goons for Less has access to these robot dogs from the reimagining. I wonder if they made a deal with the Blarg on this. I'm looking way too deep into this. Throughout the demo, there's some new dialogue that was added throughout compared to the previous footage that we've seen during the PS5 reveal event, which again is another sign that they're still putting things together. When Ratchet levels up, he gains 10 extra health points, which is normal in the Ratchet & Clank series, and an additional damage increase to his wrench. I'm not sure if it did that in the reimagining, but I know for sure that this has never happened anywhere in the series before the reimagining. During the level up sequence, you can see pieces of the ground start to fly up, and again, this is a really cool addition. As for weapons leveling up, well, it's not much, as basically it tells you that weapon damage has been increased, which is typical to the traditional Ratchet & Clank formula. And then at the end of the demo, we are brought to the dimension hopping segment that we've seen in the game's reveal trailer from back in June, once again confirming that we can trick jump while grind railing by using the X button twice. Milana Fields again, this time there are 2 swing shot targets down here, so there you go, the swing shot has been confirmed. Another thing that was confirmed are gold bolts. In the original trailer, we can see one way over here in Milana Fields, but in the new trailer, it's no longer present. But do keep in mind that this is not the final build of the game, so I'm sure they're still sorting that kind of stuff out. And then the demo ends with the same look at the mystery female Lombax from the trailer. Still no name, by the way, and that was pretty much it. When I seen this, I legit could not believe that the reveal trailer was basically the rest of the level that we seen during the PS5 reveal. And I'm actually very surprised about that, and also the fact that the female Lombax is going to probably be in most of the game, since this level does take place close to, I would assume, the start, because that's what I'm hearing. So yeah, this is going to get interesting. I mean, it's clear that Sony is really using Ratchet & Clank to really demonstrate the full power of their SSD for the PS5, and that they have done a fine good job at it. But speaking of the SSD, after the demo finished, there was a quick question and answer session between Jeff Keighley and Insomniac Games, and it has been confirmed that there won't be a single loading screen in this game. I repeat, there will be no loading times in Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and that is absolutely insane. Yeah, I'm going to miss the ship segments in the previous entries, but, you know, this is a nice advancement for the Ratchet & Clank series. And so with that, I'm very, very excited to see more of Rift Apart in the very near future, as it's both visually and mechanically impressive, and I am super pumped. But one last thing I do want to mention before ending the video are these recently announced, due to popular demand, Ratchet & Clank Funko Pop Double Pack. So far, they are currently exclusive to GameStop in the United States at the moment, with these selling for $22.99 and are expected to release on October 5th, 2020. Now, don't take this as the game's release date, okay? Let's not jump to conclusions, okay? The game is going to release in the PS5's launch window. We don't know if that's going to be a year or a few months. That was never said, okay? Just want to make that clear. But if you guys want to get your pre-order in for these Ratchet & Clank Funko Pops, then I'll leave a link for you guys in the description below. But besides that, I gotta say, these look really good, and they're actually kind of affordable, so I might just get this day one. I mean, if I don't, then I'm not a real Ratchet & Clank fan, right? I'm probably going to regret saying that. But all I ask now is for Funko to release a Sly Cooper figure. Come on, guys. The series deserves it, and you know it. So anyways, guys, that's going to be about it for today's video. If I missed anything important, be sure to leave it down in the comments section below, along with your thoughts on this full uncut demo for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. And yes, theories included. You can include your own theories. You can leave anything down in the comments section below. And also be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart content coming your way very soon. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching and the support. I've been Blueknight, and I'll see you guys back here next time.